Electric plants have some of the coolest elemental power-ups in the whole game. And with that, I've decided to see if you can beat Plants vs Zombies 2 only using electric plants. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and it costs nothing and you can always change your mind. So let's get straight to it. Starting off a brand new game can bring a lot of problems, but to solve that, we're going to have 3 main phases. And you might be like, well, what do you mean by phases? Let's start with number 1. So starting off, we can only use electric elemental things, including power-ups, despite the title saying only plants. And number 2, we can only keep our plants at level 1, except for the mandatory level 2 peashooter at the start of the game. And finally, have some fun. So let's get straight to it. Welcome to the Wild West, and as you can see, there is some new gimmicks that we have, being the minecart. When you place a plant on it, you can switch the lanes, which makes it really useful, especially for these expensive plants like the electric peashooter being 200 son. And also, do not forget about, you want to see me buy all the electric plants in the game, get this video to 1,500 likes. I'll buy them all with my money. My bank's not going like that one. Moving back to the actual day 1 of the Wild West, nothing too crazy came out. You know, we did place down 2 electric peashooters on 2 of the rails. One rail, we had all 5 lanes, so that one was the first down that we filled up, obviously, because we want to make sure we can attack all lanes. And then we put a second electrical peashooter on the second minecart, just to make sure, you know, double the attack power. And it went quite well. I was just kind of seeing how this guy worked, because I know once he gets eaten or attacked, that he just eliminates the zombie that he hits. But he has a 3x3 range that is really useful, so that came in useful. But it was day 1, so we can just move on kind of quick from this. Showing some love to my commenters that, you know, show some love to the videos. Ethan the werewolf, 1 sun producer per level would be fair, because the electric plants are really expensive, and I agreed with him just for this level. You know, try it out. It's a day 2. There's nothing too crazy that is really throwing this challenge off. And if you have any suggestions down below, put them down below. I'll see them, I'll do them. I saw a lot of you trying to help me out with how the electrical current works. It's still trash. I'll show you later on. And I'm actually quite happy how the challenge is going so far, especially up to the Wild West. The sun producers did make it a lot easier to get electrical peashooters down, but other than that, we can just move on. Okay, now day 3, I really wanted to switch it up, but I realized my lineup was trash. So we obviously had to start off with electric peashooter, like always, and we did thankfully have 2 good minecarts. That was in the first row, the bottom 3, and in the second row we had the top 3 lanes being covered. So I know no matter what, as long as we had 2 down, we could be devious and we could get all the zombies eliminated, and it didn't turn out to be too difficult. And eventually, you know, the electric peashooter is not the most powerful one-shot kill type of plant, but it's doing a lot of splash damage, and it does a range of 3 in a row, so it's actually really good like that. But for what I wanted it to do, it didn't really do the job, so I had to put down some banana guys to get the job done. Electric peels, electric banana. I like electrical banana. I'm going to call him like that. But after that, the final wave came out, and we dealt with it quite well, except for this straggler piano zombie that came out. And I tried to kill him with electrical current to give him a chance to get his first elimination 3 worlds into it. And he still didn't, because he sucks. And moving on to day 5, we started off with a minecart that had all lanes, which already had me happy, so we could at least be attacking every single zombie that comes out, because the 200 sun cost is crazy, and we don't have any other plants that can do serious damage that is cheap and reliable. So I was like, I'm finished. But obviously we did it quite well enough. It's a day 5 world 3, so I'm not expecting something too crazy. But this toaster zombie, I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm calling it the toaster zombie, because look at it, it looks like a toaster guy. But he did turn out to be quite difficult to kill, so I used my electrical peppermint to boost the electrical peashooters, and I put another one behind him because they weren't doing enough damage singly, and we finally killed him without using any plant food or spending 800 coins, because we're going to have to save that for a lot of the more difficult levels, because you get a lot of coins from ancient Egypt and Piracies, but then after that, the coins kind of get rough from each level. You only get like maybe 50 to like 200 coins per level you beat. And after this, I had a lot of electric banana peels, and then the dynamite zombie just kept spawning behind us, so I was really happy that we didn't lose our electric peashooter, because they're 200. And towards the end of the level, one did kind of get through and eat, but we killed him. But they can still get attacked from behind, which is amazing. So not too crazy in day 5, so we can move on right now to day 6. Day 6 was our plan your defense level, and as you can see, the amount of damage being done by the electric peashooter is insane, and we quickly dealt with it all, so we can just yet again move on. Day 7, I'm gonna speed this up just a bit more so you can actually see the full level. They try to set me up with putting a minecart that close to where the zombies come out, and the electric peashooter cannot handle that. So I started off with electric peashooter on the first lane, and then kind of try to build up the defense, and then trying to implement some electric bananas just to try to see it. It did get kind of challenging. We didn't lose too much lawnmowers, but it did kind of get tricky with some of the toaster zombies because they are just really strong. They're stronger. They're like, they might be stronger than a buckethead. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But after this, we kind of just went with the electric banana peel just to really do a lot of damage because they kind of like the boomerang. What's he called? This guy. Anyways, he does back damage and forward damage, so he does like double the damage, and then plus with the electric peashooter just doing a lot of spread damage, they was doing tons of damage. So he's really loving it, and it was just a kind of fun level. You know, we had enough sun to put down so much. We had 3 electric peashooters, 5 electric bananas, so it was really just a good level. And if only we could get this amount of sun every single level, we wouldn't be in too much trouble. But man, some of these little levels on Frostbite Games actually were just near impossible. We had no sun. The electric plants were trash. Okay, let's just that's for later. That's for later. Okay, let's move on to the next level yet again. And now day 10 really built character. If you watch the Can You Beat Plants with Zombies using only fire plants, you saw I struggled with the chicken zombie that made me lose many times. But with this, the weakness of those chickens is electric, so I knew it was gonna be a breeze. The biggest problem of this will be solved, and the chicken zombie came out a lot quicker than I remembered. So we put down an electric peashooter and we let him cook from there. The first bit of damage, I said we might be in trouble, but the way he was dealing damage, I was like, I might be cooked. So I put down electric peppermint just to deal with them, and we dealt with them quickly. And then later in the levels, it went as good as it could go. The electric peashooter on both sides were doing what they needed to do, and not a single chicken went through. So we could just go through onto the next levels. There was no kind of problem here at day 10. So now, day 11 tried to be challenging. It said I could only use 500 sun. My main plant cost 200, so we could put down 2 of my electric peashooters and hope for the best. Thankfully, it was an easy enough level. They didn't put 2 highly powerful zombies or strong zombies out to really just challenge us. And I was like, we could have been cooked. We had lawnmowers too just to back us up, and the level went quite well. Only sending out regular zombies and conehead zombies, and us putting them on lane 2 and lane 4, the lanes that you could just hit every single possible way the zombies can come. It was a breeze. So we can move on to day 13, and with day 13 we're gonna boost the speed, double speed on top of double speed in the game. So in this game, I wanted to try the electrical current one more time. A lot of you were saying I'm underrating him. I'm just hating on him to hate on him. No, he's trash. He's terrible. Matter of fact, he was a waste of money. So spending my hard-earned money on this guy, I decided, okay, let me give him one more chance. I'm gonna put him down where you guys told me he gets charged up by the electrical pea shooters or electrical pants, and put him with another one on the same lane to do damage. The bull ran straight through him, and just after that, he gets absolutely destroyed. I put all my eggs in the same basket, put 2 of them down trying to defend him, making me lose all my lawnmowers. So he really set me up to lose this level. But we ended up winning, so I'll leave him off this time. But this guy sucks. He's just so useless. I can't defend him no more. I'm never using him again. Okay, we're done with the electric current hate now. So day 14, there was chicken zombies that shown themselves on the right. You know, you can preview the zombies. So obviously, I went with electric plants because that's what that challenge is. And we placed down 1 electric pea shooter because I had a game plan of trying to get to know the lightning rod, because he's 125 sun and he does a decent amount of damage, nothing too crazy, but he's really good against chickens. So that was the main game plan. And after the chickens kind of started coming out, I had enough sun to get down maybe 4 or 5 of them, and they just, you know, they did their job getting rid of all of them. And then the special abilities went insane with the electric peppermint. So the day 14 probably up there with one of the easier levels past the halfway point of this world. Now day 16, we had an endangered walnut. Was not the worst plant to have as an endangered plant. You can just use your plant food to make him into a metal walnut, and it's quite strong. But I try to change up my starting lineup of, instead of using electric pea shooter for everything in this challenge, trying to make it a bit more interesting, I use lightning rods just to see how they would cope, and depending on how they did with the level is how I would continue with them. And they actually did a lot more surprisingly well than I thought they would. They did the job making sure to kill zombies behind them and in front of them, because I know they're not going to be strong enough to kill the dynamite zombies before they are able to light off, but they still use their special abilities like the plant food ability of the lightning cloud to kill them. So that's actually nice to have. And then for the harder zombies like this toaster zombies, I kind of just had to make sure to spend the 800 coins to kill them, because it's just a lot more problem than needed, because I don't want to reset the level. I'd rather spend the 800 coins now and survive it. And I use it a bit too much on this level. So that's why with my conclusion for this level, I was like, it might be too expensive, especially this early on. I only have 20,000 coins left. I don't plan on buying more because I'm not spending any more money. I already plan on buying every single electric plant, so I don't want to spend too much money on things so we can save it for later levels, especially Frostbite caves, because I know by far that's going to be up there with one of the tougher challenges in the first half of the earlier levels. Kind of up till Dark Ages is going to be one of the harder things to do, but overall it went quite nice, especially towards the end. But we did kind of fold towards the end. You know, a couple of toasted zombies came out and I didn't want to spend any more coins, so yeah, that was kind of the conclusion of the level. It was nice. Lightning rod, not powerful enough to be a solo plant that I only use, but nice addition to the electric peashooter. Day 17 is a day that I'm just going to speed up so I can fully show you the whole level and talk you through it. In the middle, we had this line of flowers that none of the zombies could trample. And I thought we were cooked, I'm not going to lie, because this was up there with one of the more difficult ones, because as you can see, everything was getting a bit too close. We had a lot of strong zombies coming at that we just had to deal with by using our special ability on electric peashooter. And I thought we were cooked, so I planned on, I can only use electric plants obviously, that the lightning rod would be cheap enough to act as a barrier, and then the electric peashooter on the rail could just add extra damage. And we somehow managed to beat it on my first go, which I was really happy about. This buckhead did become a big problem, but sometimes you just have to spend the money on the instant kill, the 125. It would have been a lot better to have there. But the long range ability and the spread damage that the lightning rod did do quite well. So it was a good substitute, and I think I'm really happy with how this level turned out. Day 17. Thought I would be cooked. I bet on my first go, so I was really happy with that. So we can just move on now. A fitting soundtrack for a fitting level, and this was a plan your defense level, which I love to see. The electric plants weren't as powerful as like the fire plants, to say, as they weren't doing as much blunt damage, but the spread damage they did have was insane to see, and it was really fun to seeing all of them go crazy with lightning rods and electric peashooters in every single lane, and a couple of lightning rods just to clean them up. But day 18 went as nice as a plan your defense level can go, not the hardest. The electric peppermint is very overpowered when there's a huge wave, so yeah, but like that, let's move on yet again. Somebody should count how many times I said we should move on. That would be a high counter every single level. So I'm probably on 18 times I'm saying that. Anyways, day 19 was not really a hard level to say, but it was more of a frustrating one at that, because you could only lose 2 plants, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lose any plants because I have 2,000 sun that I could potentially spend, and I don't really be losing plants like that. And I forgot that electric peppermint single-use plants, when they do their special ability and then just disappear, they count. So I kept losing, and I was like, no zombies are eating my plants, and then I finally realized it was actually just the electric peppermint that was causing this. So once I figured that out, I bet on my first try, but I lost like 6 times over this. I might not be sharp, but how did I not realize that sooner? Anyways, let's just move on to day 23. Now, we skipped a couple of days because the rest of them were just filler, pre-selected plants, you know, the yucky stuff we don't want to cover in an electric plants only challenge, or electric kind of just challenge only. We can use power-ups, and we want to put electric rods first just to deal with some of the things, build up a base that we can use to kill off the massive zombies, because there was chicken zombies here. And once we had a couple down, we saved up for electric peashooter to do the bulk of the damage. The buckethead didn't really stand a chance. 3 lightning rods and a electric peashooter, it's light work for us. By the time the chicken zombies actually started coming out, we had so much lightning rods, and the electric shooter was doing so much damage, and we even got a second electric pea shooter down. There was no chance for them to even pose a problem. And it's just the contrast from struggling with fire plants and then just making it like an every other day occurrence with the electric plants. Yeah, there's pros and cons of using each elemental plant, but electric plants, if they were a bit cheaper, they would be up on my list, but they're so expensive now that it doesn't even matter. On to day 24. Day 24, I'm not gonna lie, mid as hell. I literally just used one of my plant foods on the first walnut and then just put them all in the same line so I didn't have to deal with them. And I used like a regular old level. Nothing special, so we just move on to the boss level. Now, the boss battle. The final guy, Dr. Zomboss in his cowboy outfit. We couldn't beat him only using electric plants. Frostbite Caves, here we go. Now, starting off Frostbite Caves, I thought it would be a lot better start than it was. Tell me why this first level, day 1, the easiest level of every single world, it took me like 4 or 5 minutes to beat. It normally takes like 2 minutes. This was a tough level. I also did forget to remove the walnuts when they were defrosted. That I just totally forgot. That's my bad, but It didn't really make an impact anyways. And this was kind of the first level where bucketheads actually just started coming out on the first day, being a lot more difficult than the last 3 kind of star levels. This is where you're getting into the juice of the game. But day 1, it is kind of a day 1, you know what I mean? I did say it was quite difficult. It took, well, a minute extra than it normally would, so it wasn't that challenging, to be fair. A lot of the later levels, they are. Let's just move on. Day 2 is a day where there's a lot of plants that need to be defrosted, and the second they are, I try to remember to remove them as quick as possible. I do get some sun in return, though, like I do about that. It's an achievement you unlock earlier in the game, and it's kind of boosts the amount of sun that I can get, so I can actually use my expensive electric plants. Just at day 2, we can start to see the biggest problem. If you see my electric pea shooter at the bottom, he's starting to become frozen, and this is when I realized I'm cooked. So there was nothing I could do. I don't have enough sun to produce enough plants to defrost them. So just for the frostbite caves, I'm going to have to allow myself just to use the hot potato, because other than that, it would be impossible. I could spend 800 coins, but I'd quickly run out. It would just be too hard of a challenge to do without some type of thing to defrost my plants. It was very challenging already. It's a day 2. How am I already cooked? But after this, I got over this first hurdle. I did lose one of my electric pea shooters, but it did kind of fly after this, so nothing too problematic. But day 2, we're already facing problem. You can already see the spiral. We're already starting to go down. So let's move on. Day 3 was a conveyor level that didn't have any electric plants, so we're just gonna move straight on to day 4. And day 4 was a beautiful level. There was no like frost winds that would freeze our plants, so we could really just put down a good few electric plants. And because the bottom row had a tile that pushed the zombies up, it's a new kind of gimmick for the Frostbite caves. We didn't really have to deal with the zombies kind of coming towards the front too quickly, but the coneheads did push themselves a lot further than I would like them to be, but we ended up losing a lot more, being our only llama in this level, and then eventually just rebuild up enough sun to have enough electric peas to hit every single row. So after this, it wasn't really a problem anymore, and we absolutely destroyed day 4, being one of the easier levels, possibly even easier than day 1, which is crazy to say. At day 1 wasn't the easiest day in this world. So let's move on to the next level. Next up, we have day 6, which actually turned out to be a bit more of a challenging level compared to day 4, where there was no frost winds. And the second we started off this level, there was already frost winds coming through. The sunfall wasn't that nice, so we did have to sacrifice some of our lawnmowers just to get us going. But once we had enough to kind of have a decent formation where we could attack all lanes, it became a bit easier. Not easy, and our plants were already freezing, but the ice throwing zombies really just causing problem. I was like, I'm cooked. But with the hot potato that we allowed, I said that we could allow because this would be impossible unless I had enough coins. But after 10 goes, I'd be done, and I'm gonna have to do that way more for Frostbite caves to be able to beat it. So it just wasn't worth it. But we finally got to the last wave, and we somehow came through, and everything kind of just fell into place. No power-ups needed, and we better on our second attempt, which was better than the first attempt where I just lost straight away because I was trying to do electric rods, and I realized that electric pea shooter is the real method. And this ice throwing zombie just decided to stand there and throw for a couple of while. So now we can move on to day 7. Now day 7 and day 9, they kind of had the kind of same tempo and speed that I'm just going to speed up so we can kind of just get through them a bit quicker, because I don't want this to be a 55-minute video. That's for the mini movie where you'll see I'll explain it towards the end. But day 7 started off really nice. We had a couple of repeater zombies that had 2 faces, shot forward and backwards. Really cool, except for the dodo bird flying over it, and that would cause some problem. Just have to remember to pick them up with the shovel tool, and it got me some extra sun so we could really put down a lot of electric pea shooters, which just made this level really easy to fly through because we had such an influx of sun, eventually having a full 5 lanes of electric pea shooters. And once you have 5 lanes of electric pea shooter, you're not really going to lose, especially with the special ability they have. It just does so much damage that you don't even have to worry about the level. And after this, the level became a breeze. Boosted them with my electric peppermint, and it was a breeze. So we can move on to day 9, and day 9 kind of had the same thing. We started off with the electric pea shooter, of course. What else are we going to use? Electric current? Never. But I did kind of make a couple of mistakes the way that I placed down my electric pea shooters at the start, and it kind of did become a big problem. As you can see at the top, there was a big wave of zombies, just coneheads and regular zombies, not the toughest zombies, but the amount of them there, it just kind of destroyed the way that I was playing, and I did try to put down my electric peashooter to see if he could defend. I put him down too late, so we did lose 3 of our 5 lawnmowers, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna reset, just start the level over again. But I didn't want to do it yet. I was gonna just take the defeat if it did come. But with the way it was going and my special ability from the electric peashooter and me still having some coins, I just said, you know what, let's just get it over and done with. And the dodo kind of just flew over, eventually just eating our electric peashooter and pushing his way through and making us pass day 9. So now we can move on to day 13. Now day 13, as you can see straight away, I have a new plan. I didn't really introduce it especially like I would normally would, but this is because I lost so many times on this level with this plant. I was like, I just wasted even more money. I know some of you said there's a save editor. I'm looking into it to stop spending money, but you know, supporting the devs. As terrible as EA is, they wouldn't be able to keep the game updated and whatnot if there wasn't money coming in. So yeah, but this is the level that I first got to see the cracks in Frostbite Caves with electric plants only. This was very, very difficult. I maybe attempted this 10 plus times just to get this run where I actually got through it that you're seeing now. And you know, it was really cool just having the electric vine and the electric peashooter together because they were doing so much damage together. I was like, this is my new favorite combo, and you're gonna see me going with this combo from now on. And it was the Gargantua at day 13 that really caused the problem, as he's a Gargantua. No electric plant, even the special abilities, except for maybe the banana peel, was going to do enough damage to kill him instantly. And I didn't even select the banana peel. I don't know why I didn't do that. I just completely was out of my mind at the time. And the amount of times that the ice throwing zombie just kept throwing at my vines and my electric peashooters, it just became annoying at that point because it was just freezing them. I had to use the hot potato, and it wasn't a hot potato being a fire plant. It was just jarring, and we eventually got through. The waves were coming really fast. There was times where I thought we were cooked, but then the electricity came through and saved us. And then the Gargantua came out, and I was like, I'm not failing again. I have 12,000 coins. Let me just use the electric power-up. I used it for a lost worst, and he died a lot quicker than I thought he would. I thought it would maybe take 2 power-ups, but no, just 1. So it was a W, and we could finally move on. Pain, suffering, loss after loss. The zombies ate your plant, ate your brain, killing my endangered plants. Day 15 broke me. Let me walk you through on what broke me. Like, it wasn't really the zombies. I mean, obviously it was the zombies in my plants getting through, causing a problem. It was just the layout of the level. Electric plants only 2. We did have fire plants in the bell pepper, which kind of, I do know it just melts the plants next to it, but it still was terrible. I tried the electric pea setup 5 different times, didn't work. I tried, yeah, that was really it. Electric plant, electric vine, and electric rod. Those are the only ones I had. Obviously, I could have used the power up a bit more, but I wanted to save as much coins as possible. 15 attempts later, I got to a method of using the electric rod. I got decently far, but I couldn't really break past the 3rd flag. And I know normally I end up beating 2 worlds each time, but let's switch it up. I did struggle. It did take me a couple hours to try to beat this level, and it didn't work. So I'm gonna make a part 2. I know everybody's screaming bad, but the part 2 of the Frostbite Caves will be released on the 2nd of November. Depending on the time you watch it, it will already be out, or it'll be coming out tomorrow because this video is scheduled to be released on November 1st. We're moving into the Christmas month, so a lot of stuff is coming. So just make sure you're subscribed, and if you want to watch part 1, click the video on the left. And if you want to make sure that you want to see other challenges like this, like the fire only challenge, click the videos on the right. And I'll see you in the next one, and make sure you're tuned for tomorrow's episode, the mini movie.